I love it out here. I love the wilderness. I love the isolation. I like the fact that it's that this isn't a job that everybody can do, and it takes a lot of skills. It takes a certain mindset. But just for me, I just love doing it. I'm never more happier than when I'm out here and able to see moose, to look at tracks. Any given chunk of the forest, a piece of the bush, is more busy than pick a street corner, pick the busiest place in Edmonton. It gets really wild, but only if you're paying attention. If you just look at it and you're looking, all you're going to just see is, white in the winter, green in the summer. But sometimes I can scoop this out and I can scoop this thing full. I only got going. I only started trapping when I was 10 years old, and nobody in my family trapped. They're all hunters, excellent woodsmen, some of the best woodsmen I've ever seen. I started out with a .22 and started shooting squirrels like a lot of farm kids do, a lot of homesteader kids. But I heard people talking about trapping, so I went and I bought myself I saved up some money and bought a dozen little weasel traps. I went out and I started trapping weasels. My dad explained to me how to set a weasel trap. He'd done a little bit of that when he was a kid. And then I talked to other trappers that were around, and they told me how to set traps and how to get going. So I had some success with that, and the biggest thing was I just absolutely loved it. So they like to walk around and be able to see in, and so I just put this in here. So that loop up there. Cover that up. So the way this works now, so when a cat comes walking up, you see I got an X right there. The guy was talking about an X the other day, guiding their feet. So the way this X is that he's going to be looking at that pole. He's going to be standing about here. So I've left this X so he can put his foot through there, and then he can put his head in there. And when he puts his head in there, it's going to pop. It's going to fall down around him. And then cats have really highly exposed carotid arteries. So as soon as that falls down, as soon as he bumps this and falls down, it's going to close off. It'll close those off, and he'll be dead before he can pull back in this and swing around and go to there. Usually that's about all that happens. I would say probably the biggest change in Alberta and in the fur industry is trapper education, and then the tools. I would say those are the two biggest changes. Is that we've got way better tools to work with than when I started, considerably better tools, and tools that we can the science and research will support them. That they're considerably more humane than when I started back in the late '60s. And then trapper education, like I said, so it makes people aware of what the issues are, makes people aware of what's going on, and makes trappers more aware of their own role in wildlife management. We have a trapline system where a trapper, nobody knows that given chunk of ground better than a trapper will. Trappers have trapped these lines for sometimes several generations in a row. They know where every bear den is, where every wolf den is, where every open water in the wintertime is. They know everything there is to know about their trapline. So that makes them extremely valuable for wildlife managers, for people having to make decisions on wildlife. It also makes them extremely valuable to researchers. Trapping today still plays a big role in modern society in dense urban areas where trappers are continually taking out animals such as beavers, squirrels, coyotes, and dealing with those animals and monitoring the progress of those populations to make sure that doesn't create too much heartburn for city planners, municipal planners, and counties. It's alive, it's vibrant. There's about 60,000 trappers across Canada that are participating in this. The fur trade in Canada is worth about $1 billion a year. Here in Alberta, just the raw fur trade on any given year can be worth $3 to $10 million, depending on how many trappers are active and what the fur prices are. You know, nobody in my family trapped, but for me, this was absolutely as important as breathing. Hard to explain.